So I should probably wait 10 seconds. I'm live. Hello, everyone. Maybe I should wait till you can see me. I'm still not there, right, Lana?
Yeah, you go. Go ahead. Go ahead. You go.
Hello. Hi, everyone. I'm sorry. I was having technical issues, but I hope everyone can see me now. My name is Phyllis, and I live in my van. And I want to talk to you today about the realities of being nomad and if it's right for you. I'm speaking to you now from, I'm sorry, I'm flummoxed from the technical issues. I apologize. I'm speaking to you now from the beautiful Arizona desert, and I'm near Yuma, and I'm on BLM land. And this is not a green screen, y'all. You've seen a lot of presentations about van builds, solar, stuff like that. But I want you to really think about why you want to live in a van and whether or not it will really work for you. So that to me is a big issue. It's easy to lose the forest for the trees. And by the trees, I mean the details of van life. That's something I really want you to think about over the course of this presentation and decide for yourself at the end. I want to tell you about I did a phone consultation with one of my YouTube viewers, and he said he was wanting to live in a van and was thinking about what he really needed and was it right for him. And the first question he asked me was whether or not he should have a microwave. And I just laughed and I felt bad afterwards for laughing. But if you're thinking about whether or not van life is right for you and wondering if you need a microwave, you are way not thinking about it in the way that you need to be thinking about it. I'm sorry to interrupt. Lana, would you? That's kind of distracting me.
Okay,
I'm
yeah.
sorry. Can you move it?
Yeah.
Sorry about that, y'all. I'm still flummoxed. Oh my gosh.
You're fine.
So let me tell you a little bit about myself. I'm 59 years old. I have two grown children, and I'm twice divorced. Um, the first time I saw a video about nomad life was a Bob Wells video, and it was probably 4 or 5 years ago. And the first time I saw one of those videos, I knew it was right for me, where it just felt right. That doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be right, but I had that moment where it just felt right. I never felt like I a regular normal way of living was for me, and I've been looking at the wrong spot. I never felt normal or like I was in the right place, and it just kind of fit. I was always a kind of an outside person. I've been an avid carer as an adult, so I'm really an outside person. And I lived in a. I'm sorry. I think I need to put. I can't see the chat, so I think I need to push this button. Oh, that didn't work. Did I? Am I gone? Can you still see me?
Yeah.
No, I'm just totally gone.
Yeah, no, you're good. You're good.
People,
You're good. Keep talking.
okay. So, oh my gosh, I just lost my picture, y'all. I'm trying to see the comments. Um, so I've always been an outside person. I lived in a good sized house, and my favorite room was my patio. I spent most of my time at home on my patio. Lana, if you wouldn't mind coming over here and trying to figure out if you can get my picture back from this, I'll keep talking while
Yeah, yeah.
my wonderful friend Lana looks at my my screen. So so I knew this was right for me, so I started planning it. I had a son in high school. Thank you. Thank you, Lana. I just won't look at the comments for right now. I had a son in high school, so I had to wait till he graduated high school to plan my move. So in that time, I started watching lots of YouTube videos, thinking about what kind of rig I wanted, and just learning about it in general. So that's how I spent that time. And then I sold my house last a year and a half ago in July, and I'd had I'd made 4 deals on rigs and had all of them fall through. And so I ended up throwing what I thought I might need in the back of my little Nissan pickup truck, and I checked into a hotel, and I found another van on Facebook, and I bought it. And so it's been a year and a half, and I've just loved the heck out of it. So I don't recommend that you use that method of leaving your home and testing it. Really, the best way to start off is to do test runs. Like if you've got a pickup truck, throw a bed in it, take a weekend trip. You could rent cargo vans at some rental places. That would be a great way to start. Take a couple of trips out, just see if it feels right. Then if you like that, go out, keep your home, go out like for a month and see if it really works for you. Because a lot of people, it can seem right, but you don't really realize what it's going to be like until you go on the road. And it could be completely different from what you were expecting. Completely different. So what I really want you to think about is this right for you? What kind of person are you? Are you suited to living in a van? Because it's not all pretty. YouTube can lie to you. Now I'm a YouTuber. I have a channel, but my channel shows everything, the good and the bad. But there are lots of YouTube channels out there where it's a pretty young lady and she's always in front of a mountain or a beach and everything's perfect. She's always clean. Her van's always clean. Nothing bad's happened. She never has to go to the bathroom. And that's just not what it's like. So if that's your main reason, if you've been watching lots of beautiful YouTube videos and that's why you want to live in a van, you might want to think about the realities of it. If you felt maybe kind of like you didn't fit in, or you just want to be outside more, you want to move with the weather, then really go ahead and consider it. But I just want to point out that not everything you see on YouTube really shows you the way it is, the way the daily life of a nomad is. The reality is you're not always in beautiful places. It's dirty out here. Lana could probably confirm that. It's dusty. I'm hoping we don't get a dust devil during this presentation. Occasionally the wind comes up and picks up the dust and it just swirls and people scatter. So it is dirty. Living outside is dirty. And when you're living in a van, you're mostly living outside and you get dirty. One of the things that really struck me, the physicality of living outside didn't really strike me. But one thing I really didn't expect was feeling uprooted. The first 3 months I was on the road, I had this feeling that I needed to go home, that I was out and now it's over and I need to go home. And I don't think you can really anticipate how you're going to feel about that, but for me that was something I felt. Maybe not everyone feels that, but it was something that took me a few months to get over. So that's a big thing about nomad life, whether you're in a van or any kind of a rig, is you don't have a permanent home. And while that seems obvious, the actuality of it can really hit you. And some people just honestly can't deal with that. So that's one of the really big things is permanent place. Now, some people do have and that's great. Whatever way works for you. But for me, I'm completely uprooted. I sold my house. So I have that uprooted feeling. There's also an issue with having a permanent address. I kept my address of my house that was on my driver's license even after I sold it until it started to blow up in my face recently. And now I'm using the address of my son's apartment. So getting getting a permanent address. I'm sorry, I have to. My
I got it. I got it.
my dog's saying I'm going to introduce you to my dog in a few minutes because he's way cuter than I am. So thank you, Lana. He's good now. You can drop it now. So if you don't like me, I'm sure you'll like Buddy. There's Lana. Say hi to Lana. Say hi, Lana. So having a permanent address he just went right back to it. So don't worry about it. So having a permanent address is an issue. Getting mail is an issue. So those are things that some people just have trouble dealing with. Yeah, just take him off. Take him off. Thank you. So those are some of the big things as far as the difficulties or the realities of it. There's now that I
You have a comment there that you
oh
want to
yeah,
address?
go ahead.
Grace Lee.
Your biggest concern is water. Water, thank you. That's a very good comment. Water, I have never appreciated water more in my life than a truck go down the street. I guess they were putting the water out to keep the dust down on the road, but I saw all those gallons of water just being thrown onto the dirt, and it just made me sad. Water is a huge thing on the road. It's a huge thing. But another thing I was going to talk about, and my friend Lana is going to help me out in just a second, is toilets. Now, you can think, oh, I've got this fancy $1,000 composting toilet, and maybe that'll work for you. Maybe it won't. Maybe you can't afford one of those. You can get a cassette toilet, or what I do is I have a bucket and a pee bottle. So that's the reality of van life that those pretty young ladies in front of the beaches and mountains aren't showing you, is pooping in a bucket or in a cassette toilet. And by the way, here's an aside: cassette toilets, you have to pull it out with all your business and find a toilet to dump it into. So those are not my favorites. And the composting toilets, you don't keep your business long enough for it to actually become compost. So I have a bucket with a toilet seat on it. So that's one of the realities of living in a van, is dealing with not having a flush toilet. Now, of course, if you've got an RV or one of the fancier vans that has tanks on them, because I don't have tanks. If you've got tanks, then maybe you have a few. If you're going out here on a budget and you can't afford one of those fancy toilets, or you can't afford to have tanks and running water. Sorry, this is my dog sleep. You know what? This is the realities of van life. I'm doing a presentation live to you outside with my dog giving my friend Lana a hard time. So we'll just chalk that up to, this is planned. This is actually part of the presentation, having that little bump. So those are some of the realities about van life that are not the beautiful things that you might see in some YouTube videos. I'm not saying everybody's like that, but I've seen those channels and they are beautiful to watch. But what you're seeing right now is the reality of my van life. It's just a little bumpy sometimes. And I would have done this inside my van, where a more controlled environment. But I really wanted y'all to see this beauty behind me, and it really is beautiful. And I hope the sun has gone down just a little bit before we're done, because the desert has such beautiful sunsets. Yeah, oh, that's right. That's what I was going to say. Thank you, Lana, for reminding me. I hope some of y'all check out my YouTube channel, because I've got a really good video about the realities of going to the bathroom in a van. And Lana's going to put a link to one of those videos, to that video, in the chat. So if you're interested, y'all can check that out, and maybe check out some of my other videos. They're probably better than this, because I edit my videos and make it look better. But check those out, and you'll see what it's really like to go to the bathroom in the van. And ladies, You can pee in a bottle. You really can. If I can do it, you can do it. Another thing to think about is the economics. Can you really afford to do it? A lot of people do this life because they think it's going to be really inexpensive. And it can really be inexpensive. But you have to think about the way that you're willing to live. I live on about between $800 and $1,000 a month, but I am very strict. I'm on a strict budget. I don't go out to eat a lot. I don't buy fancy food. I don't stay. I very rarely pay to camp. So if you want to live this life because it's inexpensive, that's what you have to do. You can't stay in established campgrounds every night. You can every once in a while. I do every once in a while. You can't go out to eat every night. You're going to have to cook for yourself. So if you want it to be inexpensive, you really need to look at your life realistically and what you can be happy with realistically as far as expenses. I'm sorry, I'm going to have to put my coat on. The sun is starting to go down. I'm getting cold. So if you'll excuse me for one moment. I think I should have done this inside. I'm sorry, y'all.
Trisha is asking, where in the desert are you? If you would like to share that.
I will say, just a minute. I gotta put my coat on. Oh goodness. I'm sorry. This is, I'm sure, the most awkward presentation that you've seen so far. But I actually watched some of the presentations before I did mine, and people were sitting at desks and they had like PowerPoint type presentations. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, but I thought we might end everything with a little piece of the desert with a nomad, and bumps and all. That's what it is. So can you tell me that question again? I forgot what you said.
Where in the desert are you?
Oh, I'm it's called American Girl Mine Road. It's BLM land. It's near Yuma and not far from the Mexican border. So I told you where I am, and I don't think there's too much risk in that because it's a really, really big BLM area. The Van Aid just went over. I have a video about that too, and so that's where I am. So you live in a very small space, and I know you've thought about that. Of course, it's a van, but it's a very small space. And what that part of what that means is you have to give up most of what you own right now if you want to live in a van. If you're in an RV, you can take a lot of it with you, but still not all of it. I had a beautiful collection of Spode and Delft pottery. It was gorgeous. I loved it. I'd been building it up for years. I had beautiful oil paintings, original oil paintings, and a closet full of beautiful clothes and shoes. And I don't have any of that now. I got rid of all of it. And that can be really, really difficult for people. There are lots of nomads out here who spend a few $100s a month on storage units because they just couldn't let go of their possessions. So if you're the kind of person who doesn't need a lot of possessions to make you happy, then this could be right for you. If you feel like you need to spend $200 on a storage unit to keep your possessions, it might not be right for you. I did keep a few nice outfits and shoes, but other than that, I have almost nothing from my house except for my wonderful chainsaw. I did keep my chainsaw. So that's really something to consider. If you're a stuff person, if you require a lot of possessions, this might not work out for you. It can be lonely being out here. I'm by myself a whole lot. That's not that much different than before. I was lonely before. I didn't have a lot of friends. So when I do get lonely, it kind of doesn't bother me because it just happens. But I'll tell you one thing about being out here is if you don't want to be lonely, you can always find someone. You can always find someone.
There's
It
a
may
video
be,
of that, too.
sorry,
There's a video on YouTube about that too.
I can't remember which one that is. Lana's saying I have a video about that. But, and I know it's going to be harder for some of you than others. A lot of you are shy and introverted. But if you can just walk up to another person's rig and say hello, that's the thing about being a nomad. We were talking about that the other night, is you can go up to someone that you don't know at all, you've never seen before, and they're having a fire, and just say, hi, I know, is there any way I could just join you for a few minutes? And as long as you bring your own camp chair, and if you've got a piece of wood tucked under your arm, I've never had anyone say no. So there's a way to meet people out here, but loneliness can really be an issue. So I want you to think about whether or not that can be an issue for you. Also, if you've got a tight friends group that you're relying on right now in your home, that you may have more of a transition with loneliness than I did for that, because you're lucky enough to be blessed with wonderful friends now. But if you're that kind of person, I bet you're going to make lots of friends out here. So that's just something to think about.
Another question if you'd like to address?
Sure. Bugs and rodents is. Can I leave that one to the end? Because that's a really specific detail. And I first want to talk about, maybe it is appropriate because we are outside. We do get more, would you say you get more insects and rodents than you?
It depends where you are.
Yeah.
Though. It depends.
I've had 4 mice in my van, but I've had mice when I lived in a house. I haven't really had a problem with insects. I had a sugar ant problem one time, but I dealt with them the same way I did in my house. I put out little traps, and I haven't really felt like that's been an issue. But going now back to the movie, what kind of person are you? Are you the kind of person who can take care of yourself? You really have to take care of yourself out here. Now, you can have friends and ask them for assistance, but you really have to rely on yourself more than you do if you're in a house with neighbors and friends and family, or a husband who'll come over and help you fix things. You really 90% have to rely on yourself out here. So that's something to really think about yourself as a person. Are you the kind of person who can really rely on yourself most of the time? Because you have to be that kind of person to be out here. Are you a fearful person? Some people don't think about that, and they get in their van and they hit the road and they get scared. They're scared of parking at night or when there's no one else around. They're scared of parking at a truck stop. I'm not saying you can't be afraid at all, but if you're generally a fearful person, this might not be best for you. And fear is a healthy thing. It can tell you when something's wrong and you should leave. But the value of living in a van is my house has an engine in it, and I can put the key in the ignition and I can just drive away. So think about whether or not you'll be afraid. And even if you are afraid, if you're that kind of a person, you might want to start out finding caravans, people you can camp with, until you really feel comfortable, and learn how to predict situations where you might not be safe. And then learn also the situations where you are safe. And then you feel more confident about being by yourself. But you can still do it while being afraid. If you're a fearful person, but you're just going to have to learn to deal with it. I'm sorry, take a drink. Oh my gosh.
Right, so Carrie was asking, how safe is it out there for an elderly single woman?
I'm glad. What's her name again?
Carrie?
Carrie, I'm glad you brought that up. Most of the nomads I meet are women. And I think the oldest person I met was 90. And there are lots of older people out here. Like I said, I'm 59, but I tend to be younger than most of the people I meet. And I feel safer here than I did in my house. Part of that is what I just said about um, being able to drive away. But you learn, you can control where you park, you can control who you're around. And I've really developed more of a sense of learning what's not safe. I'm sorry, I'm starting to get a little tired, so I'm running out of steam. But I feel safe most of the time. I'm not saying I haven't been in situations where I did not feel safe. I can tell you about some of those if you want, but I feel safe most of the time. And when I don't feel safe, I leave. One of the times I was camping, I was on BLM land, and we were kind of tightly packed in there in that one area. And there was a man I'd been talking to, and he'd been drinking way too much. And I'm not hating on the guys right now, but drunk men are something you want to avoid. And this man was getting more and more drunk. And he got in his truck and almost hit my van. And he had this idea in his head that I was his girlfriend, and I just felt unsafe. Clearly it was an unsafe situation. And I left. I had a rug and my chair outside, and I just got in the driver's seat and I drove away. I left my rug and my chair. So that does happen, but it's the exception rather than the rule. And when I feel unsafe in a situation, I just leave. And I have learned to trust my instincts. If I feel like something's wrong, I don't wait to figure out why. I just leave. And I tell that to all women. I think especially with women, we were raised to be polite and to not assume and don't look back over your shoulder. But if you don't feel safe, don't trust, don't try to figure out why. Don't believe anyone else who says, "Oh, don't worry about it. It's nothing." It's not nothing. If the hairs go up on the back of your neck, just leave. So I think that's most of the bad stuff. So let me tell you why I love living in a van. I love being outside. I love being in places like this. It's beautiful here. I love traveling with the seasons. That's why I'm here in the winter. Pretty soon I'm going to start looking to possibly go up into the mountains and just looking for a good place for the next season. So traveling with the weather has been a really wonderful thing about living as a nomad, and it's just a great benefit. I love not having the responsibility of a house. Houses are a pain. Just the lawn, the lawn care, the maintenance. I had to put a new roof on my house the last year I was there. So not having that responsibility and the upkeep, I love. Of course you have upkeep on a van, but it's just on a much, much smaller scale, much, much more manageable. So that's the biggest thing I think I feel free of is my house. I just love not having that responsibility. I love meeting lots of people, like my wonderful friend Lana, who's here. And I find you can meet more people as a nomad than you do in a sticks and bricks. I dare you right now, if you live in a house, to go out and just walk around and tap someone on the shoulder and say, "Would you talk to me?" people would call the police on you. But you can do that here, and I do it all the time. So you could just meet people easier out here, I think. And for me, maybe you're one of those normal people who's great and everybody loves, and you've got a big group of friends, and God bless you if you are, but I'm not. So I love that about this. I love that my house has a key that I can just drive away, and not just in dangerous situations, but I've been camping with other people, and it's just maybe there's a little strife going on. You're just not vibing with the group. You just say, well, folks, I got a call, I got to go, and you just leave and you go find another group. So just that ability to move. And I didn't like my neighbors back home, but I couldn't drive my house away. So here I can drive my house away. And the biggest thing really is I feel free. I feel free of my house. I feel free of trying to be normal. I feel free of all the responsibilities I had before. I've spent most of my life taking care of other people, husbands, children, siblings, my parents, and now I get to live for me. So that's the freedom that I found living this way of life. And I just love it to death. And I have not looked back ever since. So we're not quite to quarter till, but we can either take questions, or is anybody asking questions, or no one's?
Everybody's having wonderful comments about you. No more questions so far. So
well, how about if we have my friend Lana come over here, sitting next to me?
Okay.
I told Lana if I talked too fast, she was going to come over and sit next to me. She's lovely. You're going to enjoy seeing her.
Fine.
So there are people there? Are there people there?
Yeah, there are people there.
So plus you can have the comments and tell me what people are saying. Oh my gosh. I'm
You're
so
fine,
sorry,
you're fine,
y'all.
You're fine, you're fine.
I'm sorry.
So,
do you have can you see the comments now?
we can see the comments in a little bit, but
oh, I'm sorry.
Well, we're looking at
let me introduce you to my friend Lana. Yes, she's gonna speak down so you can see her. This is my friend Lana. I met her 2 days ago.
2 days ago.
2 days ago. And we're gonna be taking a trip soon. So
right.
That probably sounds bizarre. My son thinks it's bizarre, but we met 2 days ago, and we're gonna take a trip across the country pretty soon.
Right.
So Lana's in a situation that some of y'all might be in, and that she's working on and planning on becoming a nomad. So she's in a truck right now. Why don't you go ahead and tell them about what's going on with you?
Okay. Yeah. Before that, I want to elaborate a little
I'm sorry.
About the fact that we just met two
Okay.
days ago. First thing first. This is kind of a culture shock for me. I have never camped out ever in my life.
I didn't talk about that.
Yeah, I have never done anything like that. So when I came out, it's been I've seen the realities of becoming a nomad. I've rebuilt my SUV about 4 times already inside, and it's still not right. it's still gonna be this and that and that and that and that. But then I meet this lady here 2 days ago.
Crazy lady.
This crazy lady, and she is the most authentic person that I've ever seen in my life.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah, well,
that is so sweet.
Yeah, no, listen.
Don't let go of your head.
I have been watching her videos on YouTube nonstop since then.
Oh,
and it is absolutely.
My head's getting bigger.
It's awesome. So I understand if any one of you guys is thinking about becoming a nomad, her videos are great, and you're in for surprises, but you're also in for awesome surprises. You know, some things that you will find out here are going to be absolutely worth every penny, every moment,
and every bump.
And every bump,
Yeah.
Yes, every
Don't
bump
make
you
me
hit, it's just going to be.
There's a Buddy. This is Buddy. This is my best friend, Buddy.
Yes, and Buddy has been awesome.
But I'm glad you brought that up, because if you have not camped a lot, then this is going to be harder for you than it was for me. I've been camping a very long time. My poop bucket is 20 years old. So definitely, if you're not a camper, definitely start taking some weekend trips. because it's going to be a culture shock, like she said. For me, it wasn't. To me, it was like, wow, it was, it felt better. It felt like, I can't remember the way I put it earlier, but a step up. It felt like a step
Like
up
an upgrade.
instead of a step down. Yeah. A van's an upgrade from a tent. So for me, I wasn't scared. I'm not scared of no poop bucket. So that's definitely something to think about. If you're not a camper, you can still do this. You can still do it, but you're probably going to need more preparation. So I think what Lana's doing right now is really good, and that she's coming out. She didn't go buy an expensive rig. She used the vehicle that she already had and put a bed in it and some plastic drawer things from Walmart.
Totally jerry rig.
Yeah, but that's great. That's a great way to start. So I'm glad you brought that. Buddy, don't.
Yeah.
He's wanting to lick
We
my
have a
face
question
really bad.
from
Great.
L. Dean. Have you met mobility challenges living the nomad life? I am, but still hope to figure a way to do it.
I've met at Van Aid, there were 3 people in wheelchairs. So I don't know how to make suggestions for how to do that. But if I've just met 3 people in wheelchairs, it's being done. I did once meet a lady who she had back problems, and she was a very large person, and she didn't have a bed. She had a recliner because that's what worked for her. So whatever mobility issue you have, I'm sure there's a way around it. I just can't give you specific advice on how to best adapt to your specific physical needs. But and I don't know what your specific physical needs are. Buddy's hogging the camera. But I'm sure there's a way it can be dealt with if you're willing to have it. It'd be more difficult for you, no doubt. But if you're willing to live with that difficulty, definitely try it. A cargo van might be the way to go, because you can have a ramp for a wheelchair. I know some people have done that. But definitely it's a surmountable problem. Also, health issues. You can still visit your doctor once a year. Just because you have health issues. I have multiple health issues, and I'm here, and I actually feel a lot better physically, not just mentally, but physically, than I did before. You live a healthier life. I walk a ridiculous amount. I want to get one of those step counters.
Right.
There's some days I walk like 2 or 3 hours a day, which is ridiculous. So I feel better. So if you have mobility issues or health issues, you can still do it. It might just take more work on your part to figure out how you can do it.
But there are people doing it.
There are lots of people who have mobility issues and health issues out here. Most definitely. Now, you might want to have strong arms if you can. This one guy, I offered to push him one time on these. Could you imagine pushing a wheelchair on these rocks?
On the rocks?
Yeah.
Yes. Oh my God. Yes.
Yeah. So that guy's determined. So
Yeah.
definitely you can do it. Don't let that stop you. If you're determined, you'll find a way.
Yes. As a matter of fact, I just met a lady a week ago, who has mobility issues, and she has a special bike, and she has a dog that's a working dog. She lives in a van just like you, and she loves it, absolutely. And she told me she was getting up off of her chair, and she told me, says, a year ago I wasn't able to do this.
She feels better.
She feels better.
She's living. Yeah. And I don't think it's just living healthier. I think there's something, and I didn't go into any kind of like spiritual or metaphysical stuff, but I think there's a reason for the word grounded. People say she's grounded. It's because our feet are on the ground. Our feet are not on concrete or tile. And there's something about connecting yourself with the earth.
Yes, I totally believe that.
When your feet are actually on the ground.
Yeah.
And that's another benefit I didn't talk about, is I feel more connected with the planet, with humanity, with life in general. I feel anyway, I shouldn't say you. I feel more part of everything. I see my place on the planet almost like an animal or a plant.
Yeah.
I feel part of everything. And in a way, I feel more connected with other people than I did before, and less separated in a way, like even with homeless people. I'm not a terribly judgmental person. I think less judgmental than most people, but you still have ideas about homeless people, but they're, we're almost there, you know,
Well, we're houseless, not homeless.
but I don't judge them in a way I used
Yeah.
to.
Well, because you get to understand. You get to.
Yeah. And
you
that's
get
been
to,
a real blessing to me
Mhm.
to drop that feeling of separation or judgment
Yeah.
and feel true connection with everyone else
Yeah.
and everything else and the planet even.
Yeah.
That's, I don't know when to bring that up, but I do feel more connected with the planet. And maybe y'all are a good audience for that weird squishy topic, because maybe you've had feelings like that too. You want to feel more connected to the earth and to humanity, and I do out here.
Yeah, so they're agreeing with you. I think there is a question for me. Ellen's asking, what is she doing to prep? So
Prep for what?
I guess for the nomad life.
The end times, or
Right? No,
no,
the
because
nomad
some people are
life.
preppers. They call preppers
Oh,
when
yeah.
you're waiting for a
Yeah.
disaster to come.
Well, since you're
So-
talking about the nomad life, let's assume that we're talking
That she
about
means to prepare
yeah,
for nomad life.
Right. What do you do to prepare for nomad life? Did you talk about that? How did
Well,
you
just a
prepare?
little bit about having the practice runs, but the reason for this talk is, instead of focusing on what kind of van do I need, or should I get an RV, or my mailing address, do I need a microwave? I want you to think about all the stuff I've talked about since I finally got my connection to work, which is this really right for you? So you're going to have to figure out that mental preparation part. Is it right for you? That's the big thing. I want you to, the way you prepare is to really, really look at the realities of van life and really think, is this right for me? Don't let YouTube videos tell you it's right for you. Don't let someone else you've talked to on the phone tell you it's right for you. You think about all those things I've talked about today, and think about, could you deal with all of those things? Can you get rid of your stuff? Can you be alone? Can you figure out how to change a tire? Would you panic if you were stuck for 3 days in gravel like I was one time?
Right.
I was stuck for 3 days in gravel, and I could not, the whole front end of my rig, you couldn't see it. I was that deep in this gravel that was like, it was like quicksand. And I wasn't scared because I knew I'd figure it out somehow. I spent the first day trying to dig myself out. The second day I was on the phone trying to find people to pull me out. And then I got bored. Oh, by the way, the second day was my birthday.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it was my birthday. So I called my son on my birthday. Maybe he called me because it was my birthday. And we chatted for like 15, 20 minutes. He said, what's going on? So I told him, he's like, oh my gosh, do you want me to call the police? I was like, why would you call the police? I'm fine. Even though I was stuck, completely stuck, and no one around. I really wasn't worried.
Yeah.
So maybe if you can picture that scenario and you not panicking, then you can do it.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah. And so they are asking again, since I'm not a nomad, what am I doing to prepare to become a nomad? Right.
So that's the first thing, is the mental preparation.
Mental preparation.
And I would say weekend trips. You know what?
Yes.
How about go camping in a tent?
There you go. I mean,
That would be a great.
There's no better way to try something, to learn something than by doing it. So,
But even if you're planning on living in a van, if you've never been a tent camper,
you should
go
try
down
it.
to Walmart, buy a $50 tent, and go camp. Don't go out in the middle of nowhere. Go to a state park, right?
Yeah.
Go to a state park and camp there in a tent and just see how it is. Use their nice flush toilets.
Yeah.
But then you'll be outside for a couple of days,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Without walls around you. I think that'd be great if you'd never been camping
Exactly.
to try actual camping.
Yeah. And also, if you're trying to, if you're thinking about living in your vehicle, park your vehicle in your driveway.
That's a good one.
And spend the night there.
Spend the night in your vehicle.
Yeah,
in the driveway.
I did that. I cooked. Actually, I went outside into my truck and I cooked inside my truck, even though I had a perfectly good kitchen in
Right.
there. I cooked in the truck and I peed in the truck and I did whatever.
That's a great idea. Instead of taking a weekend trip, just doing it.
Yeah. So that was the first time.
That would be good, because then if you got scared or you decided you didn't really want to pee in that bottle, you can just go inside.
Right. So in the middle of the night, if you didn't prepare and you got cold, you could always
You
go
couldn't
to bed.
sleep, because of cold or whatever.
Yeah.
That's a
And then
great,
So once you can do that in the driveway, then maybe
Then the weekend trips.
Yeah, that well, what I did was I tried it very close to home. Like I went out and camped out in the woods, but it was very, very close to home. So if something did go wrong, or I
You're
didn't prepare-
within driving distance of home.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah.
But also, I do think the first time you go out, if you've never camped, after you did the tent thing, go to an established campground that has toilets and other people around.
Yeah.
To get yourself ready, because people, I think especially women, get hit with a lot of fear. And just my personal opinion, and I have never met bands of roving rapists who are looking for old ladies. I just
Right.
that's actually not a thing. And I think, and I'm joking about it, and I'm not belittling anyone's fear, and I'm not saying that we couldn't get hurt out here, but it's just, and you're probably all going to feel that at first, that fear of being attacked. It's a rational fear. Being attacked, the fear of being attacked is a rational fear, but there are actually not bands of roving rapists
Right.
in the desert. Have you seen any?
I
mean,
have not,
maybe I just haven't.
right. Nobody.
And none of my
has ever
Facebook
come
groups
up
have
to
I heard about. Oh, you should have seen this band of roving rapists that just came
Right,
through my
no,
camp.
no,
We're
no.
all just so tired. It was
Yeah,
just, oh.
and, yeah, I think of myself as maybe this center of the universe that everybody wants to come and raise.
Yeah, everyone's
Not.
everyone's looking for this business.
Yes.
And
No.
you know,
No.
maybe that was
As a matter of fact, yeah, maybe it was a little too racy, but as a matter of fact, I've seen, everybody that I've met here, every single body has been nice. That there has not been anything strange.
well, strange, not in a danger. Well, okay, that wasn't true
Not
either.
not in the danger. I felt safe. Even and I'm a scaredy cat. I have never camped or anything like that, so it was very unsettling for me.
So at first you did have fear.
I did have fear, but I kind of faced it, and when I woke up alive, I said, "Yay!"
And that's the thing, you were afraid, but you told yourself it was going to be okay,
Yeah.
and you powered through it.
Yes.
So
Yes.
even if you get out there and you're afraid and you go back home, don't think that you failed or you don't have to give up. Go out there and try it another night.
Yeah.
Right?
Try it again.
Try it again.
Do it
But
again.
I do think the driveway thing is a great first step.
Yeah.
And don't feel bad if you feel fear, because that's a normal thing. It's a completely normal thing. But just if you decide to work through it, you can work through that fear.
Yeah, and it's like anything else. It's not really different from learning a new skill. It's not really different from, learning how to drive a van or learning how to fly a plane or anything like that.
No, you're
right?
building a new muscle.
Yeah, exactly.
And the more you
Exactly.
do it, the stronger that muscle gets.
Yeah.
And the more
yeah.
confident you'll feel. I
But
can't,
again,
what time
better.
is it? I can't see this.
Oh, yeah.
You can't see it on your computer?
Elderly ladies. It's 5:57.
Okay, we've got 3 minutes left.
You have wonderful comments. Everybody's loving your talk. So
Oh, thank you. Y'all are so sweet to put up with me.
Yeah.
Oh, can at least one person tell me if it was better to have all the fumphering around and the noise and me talking to someone off screen and a dog in my lap? Was that and the beautiful scenery? Was that better than having me do it inside of a van with a PowerPoint?
You actually had comments like that, right?
Oh,
in
I
the
did
beginning.
before?
Yes,
Oh,
in the
good, good,
beginning,
good.
and that they were saying that this is why you're so authentic, and this is realistic. And
Oh, I'm so glad because
yeah.
I got off my game from the beginning because we'd been trying for 10 minutes to log on.
Yes.
So I was sitting here all calm, ready to go, and then, oh my gosh, I can't get on. So then I started off like, so, but this is me, and maybe that means you can trust what I say because I could have recorded a presentation. It would have been beautiful and slick and perfect, and I would have had the beautiful sunset behind me. But this is what maybe you can trust that this is the real me. I do want to say one quick thing before. I hope I've got like 2 minutes left. I have a YouTube channel. Clearly, I've already mentioned that, but I hope you check it out. And I need to stop doing that. This is really bad. I do that sometimes in my videos. It makes me. I'm mesmerizing you. You're coming. Watch my YouTube channel, like and subscribe. I'm gonna go. I do phone consultations for a small fee, and it really just you tell me what you can afford. $5, whatever, 50. I've had both of those. If you want to talk in person, so to speak, or directly to me, I'd be happy to talk to you. That's how I talk to Microwave Guy. So if anyone has one last question or comment, otherwise, maybe I should just show them the scenery. Should we end with just scenery?
Yeah, I think you have maybe you have 1 minute left.
Okay. Now the hard part, getting ready to get down. He loves sitting on my lap. I've got more dog than lap. So I'm just this is gonna look really awkward, but look at that, y'all. Let's just y'all, I put makeup on for y'all. Look at that.
Where do you dump your toilet? They're asking.
I don't dump my toilet. I dump my pee outside, and I have plastic bags in my poop bucket, and those go into a dumpster. Look at that. Look how pretty that is. Let's see. Oh, I gotta get that mountain over there.
What's the YouTube name? They got
Phyllis Finds Freedom. I think if you touch that on the speakers list, I think there's a link there. Maybe you could, plus I think Lana put some videos in the chat.
I did.
And you can look at that and get my channel name. Sorry?
I just put in your name and
Phyllis Finds Freedom?
yeah.
I hope y'all come check out my site. I hope you enjoyed this talk. I really enjoyed talking to you. I'm sorry I'm not looking at the camera. And I hope you enjoy this beautiful, beautiful scene. There's my van. I should have showed them my van. Oh, if you want to see my van, I do have a van tour in one of my videos. Now it's 5. I'm probably gone.
No, you're still on.
I'm still on?
Yeah.
Well, I think someone is speaking after me, but here's my van. Here's my, it's hard to hold it and show you, but this is my van. It's a humble van. It's not an expensive one. I wonder why I'm still on. It's 5 o'clock.
No, they're saying thank you. You're amazing.
Thank y'all so much. There's my little table. I love my van. It's not a fancy build. It's a home build that somebody else did, but I love it. It's my home. It's my baby. Love y'all. Bye.